So this woman was beaten to death by her husband, all because of a tuber of yam. Now, this happened in Ebonyi State in Nigeria on the 16th of December 2024. The young lady, whose name is Charity Nwafor, was said to have been married to her husband, Joshua Nwafor, for nearly 17 years. And together, they had 3 children. This is a 17-year-old marriage, which, by the way, she looks pretty young. I wonder how young it was when she first got married to that man, who is 40 years old, by the way, if I hadn't already said it. Now, it's not clear what he did for work, but it seemed like they are just a typical lower income family, because it was said that on the 16th of December 2024, he came home with a tuber of yam and hands it to Charity and tells her to boil the yam for the family. However, Charity wanted to roast it. She expressed that it was better and probably more sufficient. I think it's the idea that maybe she felt roasting it would make it sufficient for everyone. But the husband, Joshua, said specifically to her that I need you to boil it. It might have just been a case of preference. Maybe he loves his yam boiled and maybe our kids would prefer it roasted. Literally, this yam mayhem caused a whole argument between Charity and the husband. And after they went back and forth for a long while, it was now time for her to go to the kitchen with the yam and make a choice. Was she going to fry it or boil it? And it turned out she ended up doing what she wanted. She roasted it or maybe fried it, and when Joshua wanted to eat, he saw the roasted yam and he did not take it well. It was said he violently attacked Charity, dragged her into their bedroom, locked the door with the kids screaming from the outside, and beat her to pulp. The neighbors could not intervene due to the fact that the door was locked, and it seemed as though it may have not been the first time, because for a man to do this, we know that typically he may have done it before. And so to the neighbors, they just maybe let it, play out, and hopefully it's not one of those ones that ended up tragically, which it turned out to be. Because by the time Joshua was done with Charity, she passed out, and from there she just died. But this is what Joshua did after beating his wife to death. It was said after he realized that Charity was no longer responsive and may have probably died, or he knew the situation was very serious with her, he dragged her body to the bathroom to stage her to look like she slipped and fell. And when he eventually opened the door and, the children comes to see their mom in the bathroom laying dead and the neighbors coming to check on them, that became his story. That she went to the bathroom after the fight, slipped, fell and hit her head. But nobody was buying it. Nobody was buying it because the neighbors said they heard him beat her. How do you go from beating her to her suddenly sleeping in the bathroom? And the police were called. Joshua was arrested. It was Charity's sister who made the story public, and she was actually calling for justice for sister Charity. I just feel like since the neighbors were there, he won't get away with it. Unless it's one of those things where he is, even though a low-income earner, he's relevant in the community. And if he's going to stick to his story that she slipped and fell, then there's that chance of him probably being pardoned. Also given to the fact that they have a baby and 2 young children without a mother and a father. So this is going to be a tough life for them. It's just sad that these children have lost their both parents in different ways over a tuber of yam. Like, as if it can't get any lower as to why we humans kill our fellow humans. Now we are beating up our wives because of yam. Is this mentality or is this poverty? I don't know why. It's just unfortunate, really. I don't doubt that this was his first time beating her. I feel like he had done it before. But here's my thing. Here's my thing with women who marry men like this. If that was not his first time physically beating her, which I believe it wasn't, and I know many of you would agree or believe so, she should have known the kind of man she was married to. She should have known what he was capable of. If you're married to a monster, there's a way you follow them. There's a way you negotiate. For her to go all the way to still do what she wanted to do with the yam, it might indicate to me that she probably did not know he was capable of going that far, which is a good reason to believe that may have been his first time, possibly. Because if he has done this kind of thing in the past, there will be that slight fear to want to upset him, given that there was a prior argument as to what the yam should be used for before she eventually did what she did regardless. If she really knew what he was capable of, she would have maybe compromised, or maybe say, you know what, let's fry some and let's boil some, since he really wants to eat the boiled yam. There's also that possibility that the man was one of those controlling one that wants to give the orders, because clearly he's 40 and she is, I don't know how old she is, but she looks at most 10 years younger than that man, at most. If this is a recent picture, she looks at most, or at least 10 years younger than him. And if they've been together for 17 years, so she must have been a little girl when they got married, a very little girl. So I see the dynamics of the power here. He's used to giving her orders, he's used to controlling her, and she's a woman growing into herself, wanting to make her own choices, but that did not sit well with the man. It's unfortunate.